into the Playhouse. I am here with the Recipe Podcast with my co-host, Brother Jolly, who is busy.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're live. Oh, my bad. I was doing something for the producer in the back. Hey there,
He
how are
was.
you?
He's supposed to be multitasking. So
And those who
tonight,
know me, I am not good at this. My cousin, if you watching, you know I suck at multitasking.
we're gonna get him together. We're gonna get him together. I brought a healthy snack. We had some fitness people in the building about a week or two ago, and ever since they've been here, I've been like, like I need to get a little more healthy. So I got a healthy snack because y'all know my co-host Brother Jolly loves to snack.
That I do. I'm gonna go
So
ahead and indulge in this while she doing what
there
she
you
doing.
go. Go right on ahead and indulge. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about trauma bonding. Trauma bonding, it is a topic that we were going to talk about last week, but we had to take a little hiatus from the show last week. And in starting this, we want to definitely send our love and our prayers out to Sister Joy and her family. And we also want to send love and prayers out to Tanika and her family, Sister Atrice. They are going through some things right now, and our love to Kamari. So we have a lot of people that are close to us that are going through a lot right now, and we just want to send our love and prayers out to all of them. And yeah, so we missed last week, but we back here in the Playhouse this week to talk about trauma bonding. I also launched my new show last Friday. I don't know if you got a chance to check it out, but I did like a guest co-host type of thing last Friday for DJ Duke at the radio station,
Yeah, I
and I
got a
talked.
glimpse of it. It was I'm just saying it wasn't this show, so
Okay, it wasn't this. It wasn't
but
this.
no, it
But
was it was definitely good. I'm gonna say that.
thank
I
you.
did see it. I saw the girls on there too. I'm like, look at yo,
Yeah,
yo, just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm thankful and all that, the platform and, the opportunity that the Most High allowed you to set up and had a thought or the notion to like bring me in. And because when I first came on the show, I don't think I came on as a co-host. I think I was just here as a
you
guy.
were
I was just a guy, random guy, And
a random guy. Is crazy.
I'm thankful that we here and stuff like that, and then we kept it going and stuff like that, despite some shortcomings and stuff like that we had, and then we had some people come through and show us some love and stuff like that, and we just been
Absolutely.
continue to network or whatever. I actually got a phone call uh last night, missed it, and then I ended up getting a message um about uh we might have to stop another emergency. We might have to cut the show short. And
Okay, the
you good?
producer just
You good? Okay.
the
All right.
producer is struggling a little bit. Okay, but yeah.
So yeah, it was just I was just sitting back just thinking like, dad, like hot phone call about the show or whatever. So who you is, a called or whatever. I didn't even realize that. I called her the next day after I got the notice, like, oh, somebody called me, and I'm like, did you put the signs in? Did you put it? And she like, well, look, I put the signs everywhere.
You
So
better believe it.
I'm like, yo, you definitely doing your thing with the promotion or whatever, and not having to worry about things or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's why I feel like we, part of why we got some great chemistry because of that grind, that hustle, and stuff like that. To be like,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna get out and get it myself because, of course, I got the entrepreneurship and stuff like that as well with, running a security company. Um, we do training courses as well. If you need the
Mhm.
HQL or wear and carry
Mhm.
permit, it's not a CCW. It's a wear and carry permit for the state of Maryland. We do that. And then, of course, we do all different departments with pertaining to security. And then, of course, you got a multitude of stuff from
Yeah.
you just got a lot. Just
Yeah,
tell them
the
before we jump
puppies.
into
Okay, yeah.
it.
So first of all, definitely shout out to you with your security business and
Thank you.
with you helping people to get safe and protected.
Absolutely.
Because we definitely live in a society right now where we aren't safe just walking down the street, even
Yeah,
going in our own homes and going to sleep. It's not always safe. So making sure that people are protecting, they able to protect their families legally,
absolutely.
legally, that's a beautiful thing. And Also, one of the things that we are teaming up with your security business is the Speak Up Don't Touch campaign, where we'll be doing the workshops for families to help them to get safes in their home for their guns and to help them to get registered and all that good stuff. So we're doing some dope things with your organization. I mean, with your business as well. So I love and appreciate
But
you.
I'm gonna just jump on you right off the break and interject. I want to know, and I want you to tell the viewers about all these
other businesses
and opportunities that you provide. Because, like, I mean, why
not? Okay.
Social media. That's what
it is social media.
Watch it now. Watch it now.
They see
man.
They see.
All in the camera. Back and all. They know how many spines you got taken out and all that. Go ahead,
y'all. Facebook was safe, but YouTube, you were not safe just now. But well, my first business I've had for over 15 years is Puppy Obsessions. I have a crazy puppy obsession. I absolutely love puppies. I love breeding. I love rehoming dogs for people. I love helping people to find their fur baby loves, because sometimes we go through things in life and we can be lonely at times. But if you get you a fur baby, you will never be lonely and you will never not have anything to do. So even if you're older and your kids have grown up and they moved out and you just like, oh my God, I just wish I had some fur babies, come get you a puppy. So Puppy Obsessions is something that I started actually because I wanted to help people, rehome their dogs. I saw ads in the paper about dogs that need to be rehomed, and that's how I started. So Puppy Obsessions, and you can find that on Facebook, YouTube, IG, everywhere. And you can inbox me. I'm actually having a puppy adoption day coming up soon for dogs that need to be rehomed, as well as puppies that I have available that I will be selling at a half price rate for those. I also have a program through my other organization, the Voice of Children Suffering in Silence, which is an organization that I created to help children to be able to break their silence and to help them to be able to communicate effectively. We have a lot of children in our community and in our world that are going through things that they don't really understand. They have traumas that they can't process. Today's show is about trauma bonding. And unfortunately, the domino effect of trauma bonding that we'll get into a little later is our children are affected by it. When we trauma bond, those ingredients that are spread down to our children, they are affected by it, and they have to deal with it a lot of times silently because they're kids, So I have created an organization to become the voice of children who suffer in silence, with helping them to break their silence. And through that organization, I offer a special rate for people who have children, or parents, or aunties or uncles who have children that they are raising, foster parents, whatever, that they are raising, that are going through hardships and that have endured trauma and need some healing. I offer special rates for my puppies and my kittens for those children. So that's the Voice of Children Suffering in Silence. I also have Just Mommy and Me. I've been an advocate for young mothers for 20 plus years. I worked in DSS, as well as Department of Social Services, as well as Department of Juvenile Justice, with helping young mothers. And I've done that forever. And that is also a passion of mine, to help young mothers to properly be able to transition into motherhood.
So you actually, I'm gonna let you finish. You actually got some experience on a professional level.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just not talking out the side of your neck.
Oh,
I just had to admit that because sometimes,
sometimes, yeah. I mean, you know what? I don't knock people who just do this just to do this, and don't get into the professionalism, because even after working with DSS and DJS, one of the reasons I started my own organization is because sometimes you will get in a company and start working with them to try to be a part of the change or try to help, and you'll realize that unfortunately they're really in it for the paper. They're really in it for the money. They're not really in it to really create change. And unfortunately, sometimes people do start there, but it dwindles away because they get worn out and they get tired and they get irritated. So it's like they might have wanted to help the children 10 years ago, but now 10 years later, they're like, listen, can you please sign that form and get out my face? And it was a lot of that when I was working in there. So I decided to start my own organization and just pray that God never allows me to ever be worn out or tired. And I'm 20 plus years in and I ain't worn out or tired. I'm still standing out here speaking up for the young mothers, speaking up for young fathers, helping them to transition into parenthood properly, and being an advocate for them, as well as being an advocate for young children. And last but not least, I am a safe haven. I am advocating for my safe haven more than I possibly know how. Like everywhere, I want people to know that I am a safe haven here in Baltimore, located on Ricestown Road in Baltimore City.
Some slide these over here.
You go right on ahead. I brought them for you because, get you a healthy snack in. For young parents who may have a child that they can no longer care for, or a young mother who may be pregnant and afraid to tell somebody, so she don't know what to do when she's finding herself about to give birth to a baby and need to know where to take it. I am here for those young mothers at 3729 Ricestown Road in Baltimore, Maryland. You can bring your baby here. You can come here, and I will help you through what you are going through to get your baby to a safe place and to get you the help and resources that you need. So that's a lot, but that's all I do. So thank you for giving me that moment. And all of that you can find on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everything. I'm getting familiar with TikTok, but my Just Mommy and Me, my Just Daddy and Me, my puppy obsessions, my Rebuilding the Village, the voice of children suffering in silence. I get a lot of times people joke with me, and they'll be like, girl, you got too much going on. I personally don't feel like I got enough going on. As long as I'm helping the community and I'm out here to help somebody, to save somebody, to make a difference, I'm gonna keep going. If I gotta add another one, Surviving Parenthood talk show coming soon, I'm gonna keep adding to the list. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, great. Listen, girl, leave right there. You in here, you be in on these breaks. But no, seriously, that's a lot going on, and that could be another reason why, when it comes to stuff like this, is the yoke is there.
Yeah.
As far as you and I, whatever, because like that's what I do inside the community too. Like I kind of like I'm always there. It's always a phone call. It's always this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And people don't realize like it takes a special person to tolerate that.
Yeah.
Because if I would like to, I would rather be sitting back playing the same Call of Duty I'm playing.
Put your feet up. You want to put your feet up.
Yeah, but at the same time, I do understand that people need it. And as Stan was saying, the reality of it is.
Oh my God, that is crazy. That is quoting my father like perfectly.
He just comes straight like, see, I'm trying to explain to you the reality, because the reality of it is, in all honesty, is that you need people like that. You need people like us that's going to go out there and do this, because some people don't know how to be the lion. Some people don't know how to move forward. And some people just need a little assistance. And sometimes it's good to be those individuals who can be there to assist somebody, male, female, a group, an organization. It doesn't matter, whatever. Everybody needs some kind of help somewhere along the life.
Yeah.
But let's just jump right into this or whatever. I'm gonna let you kick this off because I'm trying to bring out the rest of these
so I'm gonna kick it off with a letter. So last week when I posted that I was doing Fatal Attraction Fridays and that we were going to be doing trauma bonding, I got some questions that came through my inbox, but I also got a letter, and the letter is like, it's deep. Okay. So I wanted to start off with just explaining what trauma bonding is before I even get to the letter. But the letter is definitely next. So trauma bonding, for those who do not know, is when you meet somebody and you start to have conversations with them. You can meet that person at a bar, a library, Barnes and Noble, the bookstore. You can meet that person walking down the street, and that person, you and that person start to connect. But your connection isn't simply off of like something positive. It's off of something that you've gone through, like, oh my gosh, like, just instantly you're not gonna walk up to somebody and just be like, dang, you don't got a lot of clothes at home. I don't got a lot of clothes at home too. But you know what I mean? Like once you start talking and you have those conversations that a lot of us have had that are over the age of 30, a lot of us have had where your conversations lead to you talking about your traumas, and then that person talking about their traumas. And now y'all are like, oh my God, we went through some of the same things. We had some of the same shortcomings, and y'all are starting to connect off of your hardships and off of your traumas. And it is very dangerous doing that, especially if you have yet to heal from those traumas. Now, clearly, everybody has gone through something in their lifetime. So you're not going to meet somebody that did not have any trauma in their past. You're not going to meet somebody that had an absolutely perfect life. I mean, and if you do, run, because they're lying. So it's not true. But still, it's still just not a healthy thing to form a relationship with someone who you have formed a bond with, through trauma. So much like the story that I'm about to read you, that the person, because they wish to remain anonymous, so I'm not really sure if they disclosed whether, yeah, they did it. Oh yeah, so you'll know it is a female, a woman. Much like in her story, once you start that trauma bond, once you make that connection and you start that trauma bond, I mean, you lock in, it's hard to break off. So it's just very important that you even are aware of what's happening, like when you start the trauma bond. So like some of the red flags to look for, I'm just going to say one of the red flags to look for is if you're already connecting on the very first conversation with trauma, that's a red flag. Like this, it's not saying that you can't be friends with that person, but you got to be careful, and you got to be careful with your emotions and with your feelings. And even when doing that, don't immediately take that person's trauma on as yours. It's like, oh my gosh, I could really be a help to this person, because I could really, like we talked about just now, being entrepreneurs, so you talk to somebody who might be like, I've been trying to start a business for the last 10 years, like it's my dream to have my own business, and I got all these things together, and every time I try to start, I fail. We the type of people that will be like, immediately, because we love that shit, we
let's get it up.
immediately like, oh, let's get it. Like, let's get it. Like, let's. And they got all these horror stories about every time they tried to start a business and it failed. And this person did them wrong, and that person did them wrong. And this is why it failed. But all we see is, oh, this is an opportunity for us to be able to use our passion, and not only use our passion, but form a bond in a relationship with this person and show them who we are. Because one thing about us is we love to show off.
Yeah.
Okay, we like, hold on. Oh, you don't like, even this whole studio, one of the reasons I have this studio is because somebody played with me. Like, I became Bianca's Playhouse because somebody played with me, and I was like, oh really? Let me show you who I am. But that happens in the course of meeting somebody and having a relationship too. Sometimes you are so busy trying to make sure that person knows who you are, not just with a business, but sometimes in life too. Like, oh my gosh, you don't know what it's like to go out to a restaurant. Oh, I'm about to spoil you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, those are things that we do that honestly is not really good. Like, yeah, it's okay to take a person to a restaurant, but it shouldn't be your intention to spoil them and overdo, because they're not even used to it. You know what I'm saying? They ain't even used to that lifestyle. So now you introducing them to a lifestyle, but you introducing it to them where they start to feel privileged. Like, they start to feel like you're supposed to do that. And when you get to a point where you be like, hold on, I done took you to like every restaurant in the city. We done been together for 5 years, and you never once took me to a restaurant. But why would they? You the one who overdid it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So those are the things. Those are like red flags. Do you have a red flag for what a trauma bonding is?
No. So honestly, I just, in my honest opinion, I just started hearing about it over the past couple of years.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's the thing, I like about the show and stuff like that and stuff when we talk often, because sometimes that's why you see me and the people like, this man ain't chimed in yet. No, because
you were listening.
Yeah,
I could tell.
It's a thing of us sitting here and having a conversation with the viewers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and being authentic.
Yeah.
And being real. Like, oh, you don't know, then don't know. I'm not about to sit here and just be jumping on something. But I did look into it and start paying attention to certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. I mean, some people, if you're not used to moving a certain way, like you just mentioned with the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
The restaurant stuff like that or whatever. Like, I'm used to having this kind of washcloth. I'm used to having this kind of hand soap stuff. When you're used to certain things or whatever, and then a person go and they try to replace that with that, it's like, don't do that. If I'm used to having this,
Yeah.
then this needs to be there, whatever. But there are some things that, like, over the years and stuff like that, that was open to me And then what I did was I'm like, okay, I gotta be on this level. So now I'm used to this. Now I can't go without this, or I feel like this is a luxury that I choose to enjoy, or whatever stuff like that. So yeah, I've experienced it. But as far as um red flags, I'm really here today to remind people, like, we're here, but this was essentially something that the Most High allowed you to create. So
Yeah.
outside of me chiming in on the comments and talking my shit,
Okay. Okay. So
I'm speechless.
you were okay. So
Now, if you're asking for
I'm a,
general red flags, I can do that, but you're talking about specific to trauma bonding.
yeah.
So I'm gonna say I don't know.
You
I'm
gonna
here.
yeah.
I'm a viewer.
Okay, you're
In
a viewer.
person.
You're a viewer in person. I love it. I love it because so trauma bonding is something that is huge for me. It's honestly something that I've studied. So, but I started studying it when I started going through therapy for myself. So I was in a lot of relationships in my life, and being in several relationships, I knew that it was not just the other person. Like, you don't keep going in marriage after marriage and relationship after relationship and it's the other person. Okay. And I mean, I would love to say, yes, it was all of them. It was never me. But through therapy, um, my therapist and I got a chart and we started writing out all of the makeups of my exes. And when I tell you everything was identical with each and every person,
Really?
it was creepy. So I talk about that because that was the first time I even heard about trauma bonding. And she's like, each and every one of these people, you took on the role of nurturing them and being the mother to them. And you took on this role. She was like, what were your first conversations about? And I'm like, I don't even freaking remember. She was like, well, since the makeup is all the same, let me just tell you, nobody had a mother that probably you have a good relationship with your mom at the time. My mom was here, so she's like, you have a good relationship with your mom. So I'm sure when they told you they didn't have a mom, you felt sympathetic, you felt empathetic, you felt like, oh my gosh, let me help you through this. And I was like, I did. Like, that was something that I was like, oh my gosh, like, your mom, like, you'll have your mom, like, that's something that was huge for me. Like, let me have, like, that's sad. So just that alone was a trauma bonding experience because I'm immediately, they're looking at one of the things that all my exes would say also is like, I love the type of mother you are, or I love the type of relationship you have with your mother. Now that seems like a very like simple comment, right? It doesn't even seem like something that would be, malicious or anything like that. I didn't think it was until I went to therapy. And my therapist is like, so if they don't have a mother and they say to you, I love the type of relationship you have with your mom, and they continue to say that over and over again, it's something that they're repetitive about, then that's a red flag because they are now starting to live the relationship with your mother that you have. They're starting to live it through you as if it's their relationship. And I was like blown away because I'm like, so I can't, like, that's crazy. How can they not just be like, oh my gosh, I like the relationship with your mom?
Well, so that's interesting you bring that up or whatever, because I have noticed over the years that when you have certain interactions with people, whether it's the children or this person or this person and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I know for me personally, it's exclusive because you're talking about that with your mother, whatever. I know,
Yeah.
like, I share those relationships, like, with my children. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, lovey-dovey or whatever, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like, my oldest daughter, um, she want huggies all the time. That's what she wants. She want huggies today. She
I
want
love
huggies when
it.
she get picked up. She want hug. Some people find it as abnormal, but I know me myself. I mean, yeah, she be doing her, but it's fine. Like, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like, now her sister, um, she likes to. If she coming to sit next to me, she coming to sit next to me, and I
Yeah.
don't mean right here. I mean, like, she up underneath of me or whatever.
Yeah.
Her younger sister, whatever, and they're like, but other people, that's not normal for them. For me, it is. I love the affection because, again, my fear, especially for the girls, is always if it don't come from here, it's gonna
Yeah.
come from somewhere else,
Yeah.
and I'm in fear of that or whatever. So
Yeah.
that is interesting that some people like see things and then they
Overdue.
and then
Yeah.
they start to be like, oh well, you know, I'm gonna try to live because this is uncommon or I'm not used to it. So
Yeah.
let me go through you to do that, whatever. So that's very
Yeah.
interesting. You said that, bro.
Yeah. And you know, it's what I love about one of my daughters, all of my daughters, I love them. But one of my daughters, particularly recently, came to me and she said she had went on a date and she was like, "Ma, I'm not even ready to date because I can see that I'm still in trauma from my father not being in my life. And so I'm not ready to date because that's mostly what we talked about. Like, and his father's not in his life either. And I'm like, yeah, let me just not, like, it triggered something in her.
So it was a
Whereas
sign that she
though,
saw. So that was one of those red flags.
yeah,
That
that
you
was
were
a red
referring
flag
to.
for
Okay,
her. And I
that's
love that
good.
she notices red
Very
flags
mature of
because,
her.
yeah, because she was like, just being honest, I know when she watched it, she was like, Ma, she was like, Ma, I would dog him. I would treat him so bad, Ma, because I looked at him and once I started talking about my father, like all I seen was my father. And like I would not treat him good. Yo, it blew my mind because like just think of if like for the women who don't notice that, like don't pick up on that, and they do go into that relationship and they can't even understand why they just dogging a dude, you know what I'm saying, and treating a dude bad, you know what I mean? It's because it's unhealed trauma is really unhealed trauma. So if you have unhealed trauma, it's important for you to go get the help that you need so that that trauma can be healed so that you can have a healthy relationship. So, okay, let me get into this letter real quick on a real quick tip. And you can give me my fan back. Let's not turn the fan off. You can give me my fan back. You see, every 5 seconds I'm like this, y'all. He don't need the fan no more. Okay, no problemo. Okay, hold on.
I didn't
All
know it
right.
was a little messing with the sound of that.
Oh, you know what? It might though. Trill spill, holy Phil. It might be, especially for our mics. Okay. Dang. YouTube, you probably mad. Okay, wait a minute. Let me just go. Okay, here we go. And I just want to also say to this young lady, because I'm sure you are watching the show. First of all, sorry that I was not sorry, but you understand why we didn't do the show last week. So I'm very proud of you for even having the courage to write and tell me your business like this. And I am going to respect your privacy. Absolutely. And anybody that takes the time to write into the show, I will always respect your privacy and keep it anonymous if that's how you want it to be. Okay. I should make Jolly read this.
That's fine.
Really? I know that's right, Jolly.
I mean, I gotta tap in. I mean, like I just kind of like took a back seat and kind of
And I
let
love
you do
that.
the whole thing. So yeah, there ain't no problem.
Okay, and I thank you.
Yikes. I think it was gonna be like here. It's like here. Nah. No disrespect.
That's why I chose. That's why I chose it though, because everybody else was here.
All right, so we tap it in. Hey y'all, I saw y'all were doing the show on trauma bonding, and I figured I'll share my story with you and your viewers in hopes of getting some advice and some encouragement. To be honest, please do not share my name. I wish to stay anonymous to your viewers. Respectfully, I hope you're ready. Here we go. When I was 13, I met a boy that was 17. He was always on the corner in the morning when I walked to school. Every morning he would speak and give me compliments. And before I go into this, let me say this. I am one, and I'm not saying this because I haven't read it. I am one to always believe that we must continue to push forward and not allow your past to define who you are. Because as you watch me grow up into the person I am today, you know where I once was and how I was once moving. And look at me now.
Yes. And I love that you said that. I love that you said that because a lot of us are unable to even truly heal, even after going to therapy from our trauma, because we're still holding on and holding ourselves accountable. We can hold ourselves accountable for our past, but we also got to give ourselves grace and mercy and be open to understanding that that was us then And this is us now.
Absolutely. So when I was 13, I met a boy that was 17. He was always on the corner in the morning when I walked to school. Every morning he would speak and give me compliments. One day he waited until I got out of school and walked me home. Being the only child of a single father, due to my mom leaving my dad and I years prior, and my dad working a lot, I spent most of my days home alone. That quickly changed. The boy turned into my boyfriend. He also turned into the boy who would cause me to make decisions that led me being in foster care. After disobeying my father several times and having my new boyfriend caught in the house, he finally had enough when I allowed my boyfriend to borrow the keys to his vehicle. What others didn't understand was we needed each other. His parents had abandoned him and he had no one. I was his someone, and to be honest, he was my someone. But after he did what he did to my dad's car, my father took me to social services and dropped me off with everything I had. I couldn't believe he had abandoned me, just like he did my mom. However, now at 33 years old, I can understand his decision, and we have a much better relationship today. My boyfriend ended up becoming my three children's father and getting me put out of every placement social services ever put me on. It's been 2 decades of abuse, lies, cheating on both of our part, and yet still I can't seem to leave. This is the short version, and I'm sharing it because I honestly don't know how to break this bond with a man that still hasn't changed. I'm now very successful in my career. I own my own home, and yet I find myself back losing things because of my relationship. I recently lost my car because I let him drive it and he crashed it. Help me, please. Please ask your viewers to be gentle with me and simply give me some advice. Hopefully, you have some viewers who truly understand what it's like to be trapped inside a relationship with someone who has bonded me through trauma. So let me tap into this. And like I said, initially I was here, but she put this on me. So if you're watching this, don't take this the wrong way. For those of you who want to tap in, comments. I'm sorry, yeah, comments or send me or Big Sis a inbox. Please feel free to do it, and if time goes on, we'll have a chance. In short, this sister pretty much had met a young man through trauma that she was going through and trauma that he was going through. A lot of misunfortunate things had taken place. As time went on, they go to be together, and she ended up pushing forward and not allowing the weight of the issues with the relationship to hold her down, and she continued to be successful. Um, Now, years later, her being in the position that she's in, she feel like she's still taking losses due to not walking away from the relationship or whatever the case may be. I feel like I summed it up, but I'm not. If you're watching, I'm not trying to be this. Just want to sum it up. But let me say this.
That was.
Let me say this.
Let
I'm
me
gonna
see
slide
you
this
put-
back over to you. Give me a second.
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. No, just be sure.
First of all, if like it's important, and this is proof that it's important. The other week we were talking about dads,
Yeah.
where not me, but she blew up. I tried to jump in her ass. Producer jumped in my ass. There's a lot of ass jumping in. No homo, no diddy, and but it kind of go into what we were talking about the importance and the roles that the father played.
Yeah.
That's why if I have to work, my children are with someone that genuinely loves them,
Yeah.
like without a shadow of a doubt. And because I'm afraid to do this, that, or the third. Now, listen tight. Now, the other thing is, I mean, damn, 2 decades. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
All right, I'm gonna flip this to you, but I'm gonna say what I need to say. Yo, in all honesty, like I've been in several relationships too.
Yeah.
And time is a big thing to me as well, because that's something that you can't give back.
Absolutely.
If that time is to a T, and you like, oh well, you don't want to lead a person because this is all you've been comfortable and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I once read, I was listening to this book. I think I mentioned it on one of the shows, but the point is, sometimes in order for us to readjust and to restructure some parts of our life, you got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't have no problem being uncomfortable. I don't. And the reason why I don't have a problem with being uncomfortable is because once you put up that time, we all got time limits. We all do.
Yeah.
How long I'm gonna put up with this? How long I'm gonna put up with that? That's the question that got to be asked.
Yeah.
But then to take the courage to walk away and be like, yo, this is all I've been knowing after all these years. You expect me just to well, if you want change to come, you got to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In Islam, it talks about, and Allah know the true meaning of every ayah. It talks about Allah will not change the state of a person until he changes the condition of himself. When you look at the tafsir and understanding that, it's talking about changing within their heart.
Yeah.
And while I'm not saying she has a heart problem or he has a heart problem, but sometimes you just got to allow that pain to happen so that change can happen.
Yeah.
Allow it to happen. You're going to go through, that pain is going to happen, whether it's here, now, whatever. The only question is, are you allowing somebody else to have that power over you? Because you have to be willing to be uncomfortable in order to change.
Yeah.
I find myself sitting back like, hey, how long am I gonna put up with this crap before I'm just like, you know what? I'm tapped out.
Yeah.
I can't take it no more.
Yeah.
Because if it's me, if it's you, whoever it is in that relationship, at some point in time, a clock is running.
Mm-hmm.
You just better hope that it's not me. That way you make sure you good. Because I'm a bounce back fella. I will put this together, work and stuff like that. Like, I don't have no problem with it. But you gotta find a time to say, I need to be uncomfortable in order for me to better myself. Because, sister, you gotta think about those kids first and foremost.
Yes.
You gotta think about the kids. It ain't about the decades that you and him got. Because if you're acknowledging that, yo, it's on my part and on his part, then clearly it's not solid.
Yeah.
It's the timing and the level of comfortability that you have. It seems to me as to why that's the only reason you stand.
Right.
Because if you jumped out there, he jumped out there, then the only reason why you gotta be standing is because of that.
Yeah.
Because what Tina say?
What's love got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? Everything you said was absolutely A1 because that pain and being afraid of that pain, I think, is another thing that holds you in relationships that are unhealthy and that are toxic and that have formed through trauma. And the fear of what if, right? The fear of what if also holds you and keeps you stagnated and keeps you still, as opposed to allowing you to go forward. And instead of having the fear of what if, get excited about what it's going to be, and know that it's going to be something better than what it's been. It's going to be some type of change, because one thing for certain is 2 decades of lies. Wait, you said cheating, and lies, cheating, and something else was in there.
It was no abuse, but I don't know if it was. I don't recall it being physical or verbal. But then in some instances, the verbal is worse than the physical.
Yeah,
and we don't know. And I'm not saying it's you, and I'm not saying it's him. Because I'm just going off what I read.
Yeah,
it could be both ways.
Yeah,
because sometimes, and again, put your hands on my peoples, okay? I got some.
But this for her right now.
Okay, right. I'm just saying.
He got back to his security.
So, but you don't know if it was abuse, because sometimes, a man will, some men, because you definitely got some dudes out there that need to be locked down, and the key need to be thrown away.
Yeah.
And they need to be violated from here until next year. and you just need to just
You do got some
take
men
them out.
because, but
But
the children part for me is
but
like that should be your why. You know how everything in life like got to be your why. That should be your why.
So I agree, but let me say this, right? Is it okay for a woman to physically abuse a man, regardless of the
Absolutely
size or
not.
height or anything? So then on the flip
Oh,
side,
woo, woo, woo.
it could be on the flip side, it could be the physical abuse. And sister, we
And I'm not
don't
laughing
take
at the woo woo woo
don't
because if you really are, we're gonna talk after this.
let's
But no, honestly, there's abuse is not okay either way. Like abuse is abuse. It don't matter whether the woman is doing it or the man is doing it. Abuse is abuse. Literally just yesterday, there was a couple that the woman really was abusing the man, and I was mind blown, and I don't know why I'm always mind blown at when it's the opposite of a situation, but
because it's not spoken out because they go to pride of most men. A lot of men they not. Now I'm not. You're not going to talk about my wife.
Right.
So
and that,
the
and
whole time
that's
you actually is actually going down.
Yes.
And you need to seek the assistance, but a lot of men have pride in their heart.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say that's y'all. That's something that is your makeup. But what I will say is it's a generational thing because that's been something that y'all have been told you're supposed to have. You're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to go through those things. But there are a lot of men that are taking physical and mental abuse from women, and so either way, it's not okay. And I think 2 decades of abuse, I mean, you have to give yourself grace because in this moment, in this time that you're even speaking up about it and you know that there's a change that needs to be made, that something has to change and you're looking for advice or you're looking for encouragement. First of all, your encouragement is, listen, I'm going to be in your inbox every day. Be encouraged to do better for you. Be encouraged to live life outside of trauma because every day that you're with this person, because you just wrote this letter, you wrote this letter in, and this letter started off with how you met that person and what you've gone through, and that was a brief, short version. That means not only are you still living in the trauma of your mother leaving your father, because that was the first part, you're also still living in, because you said in the end you have a good relationship with your father now, but you didn't say anything about your mom. So I don't know if you've healed from that trauma, but you're still in that trauma. Then you're in the trauma of all of the things, the events that laid out to you going into foster care. That's trauma. You have so many layers of trauma that need to be healed and addressed that honestly, my advice would be to address that. Address that. Not even addressing your relationship with him and how you're going to get him out. I promise you, once you start focusing on you, then you will stop focusing on him and you will no longer need him or that relationship, because once you start healing from their traumas, all of those layers of traumas, once you start peeling back those layers and healing, it is going to transform you mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Start healing. And I will definitely be a help as much as I possibly can be to you to help you in this journey of healing.
I feel like this was I feel like this was a sign right here that was a producer playing Call of Duty.
The producer
but anyway,
is playing
I wanted blast.
Definitely playing Call of Duty.
I wanted it I feel like this in itself, when people do stuff like this,
Yeah.
This is a sign that they're ready to take this journey.
Yes.
Because they took the first step by reaching out and allowing people to be able to, even after the show is over, to chime in and stuff like that, so that they can watch some of the comments or whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like that in itself was the first step,
Yeah.
to release yourself from these chains or whatever.
Yeah.
And even what you were saying before I cut you off earlier, I want to allow you to get back to that because you were talking about the children.
Yeah.
The children are very important.
Yes.
Because even if it's with, what's crazy? So my biological father, that's why we here. We be authentic sometimes. Sometimes we talking, but we So my biological father, he's still alive, breathing and stuff like that. I saw him within the last week. But then I also had an amazing stepdad.
Okay.
And dudes can clown me if they watch or whatever. I ain't worrying about that. That man came in and he with my uncles and all them and stuff like that. And Sister Jolly did an exceptional job, I would think.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she
Um,
did.
but my stepdad, he came in and he kind of like laid certain foundations down for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I bring that up and tell that about me personally because I don't want you, if you are viewing this, I don't want you to potentially think that having a stepdad is a bad thing. Now, some of them are crazy, but
Mm.
that's on you to heal yourself and then to move in that direction. But it's not
Mm-hmm.
bad because, like I said, he's a great job, and I had a great guy, and I have a great relationship with, like, a really, really great relationship with him to this day.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not always bad to be like, okay, well, I've known this man for so long. What happens after the fact? Well, don't worry about after the fact because if the Most High wants you to, and you're doing the right thing, he'll put you in a place to where as though you're pushed into the right guy. But again, I don't want to take away from you, but you were saying something about the kids. I'm assuming it's kind of along those lines.
Absolutely along those lines. The children, we want to stop as much as we possibly can as parents. And it doesn't matter if you have grown kids right now, if your kids are in their 40s, because I talk to people sometimes that have kids that are older, that are my age, but no matter how old your child is, it is time for us to stop creating trauma within our children and passing our traumas on to our children. And when you are in a relationship that is toxic, your children are receiving that, every piece of it, from the late night arguments when you think that they're asleep, to you not even being able to sit down to a table to have dinner together because you're mad at each other, to the rolling of the eyes at each other, to the sarcasm that you use. I've been around couples that I see the pain in their children because they are having a conversation in a sarcastic, disrespectful way, but trying to be, cookie cutter in front of the kids, but the kids are receiving it all. And you see the pain. I've had people's children come to me and talk to me about things that they go on in the homes. So I know that child suicide is very heavy. It's at a high rate right
Hmm.
now. Children who are struggling academically in school is at a high rate right now. So, sister, I'm gonna say to you, when you think of how much, not think of, when you feel, because you're a mother and you mention your children, which means your children mean something to you. When you feel the love that you have for your children, love them enough to want them to have a life outside of trauma. Love them enough to want them to know what it's like to have a parent that is happy. Because when we're not happy, when we're sad, when we're upset, they feel it. They feel our energy. Even those who are pregnant. Somebody might be pregnant right now watching this, and you may be in an unhealthy relationship, and you may be going through things. Your baby is feeling that. So, as a mother, it is always your duty to make sure that you give your child a good life, that you help your child. And sometimes you may not be strong enough to do it because you're weak and you're having those breakdowns and stuff. Therapy is important. Taking a time out and saying to a family member, listen, I'm going through it. And I don't know how to get through. I don't know how to be everything I need to be for my child because it's hard for me to be that for myself right now. Love your child enough to say that. Love your child enough to create a safe space for them to be a child in. And being around you who's trying to be with a man who you've had 2 decades of abuse with and 2 decades of lies and cheating and unhealthy relationships, that is trauma that has already been planted in your child. So as you start to heal, now you got to help your child to heal. But your children should be your why. As much as we can all in the comment section, people can comment, people can give advice, people can give encouragement, people can say, girl, you got this. Girl, you got this. Let's go. We can cheer you on. But you got to truly make the decision, and you have to have a why that is bigger than me, that is bigger than our comment section, that's bigger than the viewers, that's bigger than Brother Jolly. Your why has to be bigger than that. And your why is those three. I've never seen them and I don't know your children, but I'm just going to say your three beautiful, amazing children that are looking to you to be their safe space. They're looking to you to be their comfort. They're looking to you to be their peace. And you can't be those things if you don't make that decision to do what you need to do to get out of that situation. And I don't know how toxic it is as far as you telling your mate, like, listen, Listen, we 20 years in, okay? Listen, this ain't good. This ain't a good healthy space. And we're at an age now, we're at an age now where we can parent separately, and parenting separately. A lot of people stay in a relationship because they're afraid of what people are going to say if they leave. They're afraid what the community is or the people of the world is going to look at them, and they're afraid to say I'm a single parent, or they're afraid to say I'm a co-parent. They're afraid to say I'm divorced. They're afraid of all these things. Be more afraid of raising a child that is depressed. Be more afraid of raising a child that is lacking the ability to be amazing because you are providing a space that is unsafe and unhealthy for them mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I know that was a lot, but when I speak for children, it comes from my soul and from my heart because children can't speak up for themselves. And a lot of us, we get home at the end of the night and we might have an issue with our mate. One of the best things that I'm able to do with my wife is go behind closed doors and have that conversation and then open that door and act like ain't nothing ever happened. What I'm saying? Like, I've never been able to do that before. And I didn't even understand the importance of doing that before because we be so busy in ourselves because we're human too. So you mad. Like, look, I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just pissed me off. Like, why would you do that? Da, 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 and arguing and all of that in front of kids. Like, that is toxic. So I would pray that the biggest encouragement that I could give you here publicly is to use your children as your why. Allow them to be the reason why you are saying, I'm taking Miss Bianca advice and Brother Jolly advice. I'm going to therapy. I'm focusing on myself. I'm actually going to give you a gift. I have a journal that I was going to give out to like the first person to come on my the Voice of Children Suffering in Silence. I said, I'm gonna give this gift is for you. So know that I'm giving you this gift. It's a journal and it's a self-reflection journal. So you got to hold yourself accountable. It allows you to write out your plans for your week and your day or whatever, but it also has a part where you have to hold yourself accountable and you have to put like, what did I do to achieve that? What did I do for that goal? And it also gives a space so you can tell how you feel. It's an amazing journal. And I'm definitely going to gift you that journal because I need you to hold yourself accountable and I'm going to be holding you accountable. God is going to be holding you accountable because God definitely sent us here to be able to be here in this moment and have this moment with you. So
yeah,
that was a lot, but I'm sorry. That was long-winded.
So I definitely got a lot of insight on this.
Yeah.
I'm also the clock too, guys.
Yes, he is because the clock. Let me tell you something. The clock will be, but I think if ever we go like overtime, I feel like the producer would be like, okay, but I think her Call of Duty, be having her messed up too.
It's something. Now she's trying to flip the phone up, but she must be off of the Call of Duty and then onto the regular stuff. But
yeah.
Let me just say this. This been very insightful for me. Even in the beginning when I wasn't, and I'm not sure you didn't take it away. But I wasn't throwing shade. I was asking a question about that because I want some of the viewers to understand that while I may haven't went into all the way my background, but just know like we're not just spitting from anywhere. We spitting from experience. We whether it's on a personal, it's on a professional. And picking up a damn book and reading and stuff like that or whatever. So that's kind of like why I kind of wanted her to speak about those things, the DSS and all those other companies that she worked for or were in partnership with, because it's very important. I will say this: that's where your patience is at. Your patience is 2 decades. I think that you need to work on yourself first and foremost. Even if you don't have the courage or the ability to just say, okay, I'm going to jump, but definitely work on yourself, because I realized that wherever I was at, and it's just recently I came to the realization I started doing a brother's breakfast every Sunday. Like they were doing it and they were inviting me and it was like, oh, you gotta come on, you gotta come on. And I'm like, man, I'm not getting. And then as I begin to go and do this for myself, as I begin to take therapy sessions for myself, I begin to say, you know what? I can't keep moving how I've been moving. I gotta begin to move for self
Yeah.
healing, self reflection, and stuff like that. So I definitely want you to take on the therapy. And if you feel like it's not working, then maybe you just need to change your therapist, or you might need to see a clinician.
Yeah.
But definitely remove yourself outside of your comfort zone. However you feel as though that's necessary to do that, you need to remove yourself outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Most certainly. And then everything else will follow. That's my thing. Moving
Yes.
yourself out your comfort zone. I appreciate you for giving me some insight on what trauma bonding was.
Yeah.
Again, HQL, Brand Carry Classes, Inbox Assistant. She know I'm gonna pass it over her and let her close it out because it is Bianca Steele.
I love that.
I'm just a
Okay.
random guy.
I appreciate you. And again, shout out to you, Queen, for being bold enough to even open a conversation like this up and be able to allow us to be able to give you encouragement. Not everybody is open to receiving what somebody got to say
Yeah.
about their situation.
They're not.
Okay. So even that in itself is a blessing. So I pray that God definitely blesses you to get to a healthier space and place for you and your children, and to know what life is like outside of what you have endured and what you are going through in this moment. Amen. Okay, so in closing out, I also want to say this last thing. I just cannot, y'all. I'm learning to watch what I say and being mindful of what I say. So I pray God blesses me to say this the best way I possibly can. But I cannot not say this. We all watched this horrific body footage that cam footage that came across our timelines and all across our TVs of the situation that happened with our brother Bilal Abdullah. And what I want the world to understand is that as much as you are opinionated, we are all very opinionated about everything. And as much as you are opinionated about this situation, remember that that Bilal Abdullah has a mother. He has siblings. He has family. He has all of us because we knew him, grew up with him. The blessing is that his name is ringing so many bells because of what he did in our community and how he fed people and did things, and that's a blessing. But I just want people to be mindful of that, because you never know what God has laid out for you or your family members or somebody that's close to you. So be careful being judgmental about people, and be careful with what you say. I know we can't control the narrative, the comments, but I just know that my platform, I'm able to control the narrative in this space and place. And Bilal Abdullah was a man. He was a lover of children, and that I'm a children advocate, so that alone solidifies things for me. And he made whatever decisions he made in life, but the most that we know about were good ones. And we want to carry on his legacy for that. So please just be mindful of his mother and his family when you take the time to write comments in the comment section of the videos that you are seeing. Okay, please and thank you. Next week we will be back.
What's the topic? Don't be throwing me no curveballs. We gonna finish this up. We're going on another story you got. What's the topic?
Yes. So next week, I was thinking, because we've done so much trauma.
We need to brighten it up.
We need to have something happy or something like that. So I was thinking we could even talk about some places that we could like dating ideas. What is a good place to take people on dates? We could talk about good ways to healthy ways to be able to keep your relationship spiced up. You feel me? Like, how we going to keep things rocking in the bedroom, and how we going to keep things alive. Like, let's get spicy and let's get juicy and let's get good, because I'm not saying these topics were not necessary, but I'm tired of tear. I almost cried just now.
No. I got
So
you.
I want to have
let's
some fun. So
okay.
let's do that.
We can do that or whatever. So hopefully we can come up with something. We'll make it a decent
Yes.
topic, whatever.
Yes.
On
But
that
spicy.
spiciness. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Spicy and
Bring in
good.
some
And
jalapenos. I ain't eating nothing. We can bring
yeah,
them
we're
in.
gonna, but we're gonna have some fun with y'all next week. We're gonna definitely come out, and I'll definitely be making sure y'all know what the topic is sooner than later, like I've been doing. But give me some grace. But thank you for tuning in tonight to Bianca's Playhouse Talk Shows, the Recipe Podcast with me and Brother Jolly. Make sure y'all are here next week, 7:30. Bye. Oh wait, hit that share button. Make sure you hit that share button.
Did we start at 7:30?
We started at 7:40, but
I feel like it was 7:41.
Oh,
no, we signed on. We good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead. We just over here talking trash.